You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 111 of East Central AMS. Welcome to it's episode 111, everybody. I'm Jeremiah Morrell, and I'm joined by co-host Dakota Davis and two randoms here, I guess.
Today's episode features our featured guest, Sean Rao, and then Mason. And
Yep, that's about
He's been the punching bag all day. Mason Rottinghaus, the Purdue University student.
Yes, today we are going to be talking about universities and colleges and how they get priced and where your tuition money goes. Then we will also be talking about Elizabeth Warren and her plan for student loan forgiveness. So we have Sean over here who went through all kinds of school because he's a lawyer. And then we have a current college student here to talk about the issue of college with us. And then at the very end of the show, in like 4 hours, we are going to discuss the city of Newcastle and Mayor Greg York giving an update on the 1400 Plaza.
So this show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we will provoke you. Other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully you always learn something new. This promises to be the longest episode we've ever had. We brought 2 pages of show notes and a 4-page addendum.
Yes.
This is going to be a train wreck of train wrecks, Dakota.
I don't think so.
And the best part is everybody's going, I didn't read the show notes. I have no idea what they say.
I'm confident in our 2 guests. Neither one of them are like Travis Wyke and are going to just go through every single bullet point and make it a 30-minute talking point. So hopefully we get through it in a reasonable amount of time. But there's a lot to unpack with colleges because if you're going to talk about student loan forgiveness, you have to talk about, well, why are we taking out loans? Because it's expensive. Well, why is it expensive, and how did it get that way? So there's so much. There's a page and 3/4 of actual show notes that I wrote, and there was so much more I could have put down.
It's we're going to tackle all of college education and the funding in 30 minutes, and you're going to know everything you need to know.
I really think that if our congressman listens to this, Greg Pence, he will come up with some sort of resolution to deliver to the House, and it could possibly be signed into law because of us. I think that this show is that extensive.
I would have worn a suit if I knew it was going to be that serious.
This is why I wore the suit. Because I just came here from work.
Sean's trying to get noticed. Yeah. So, real quick reintroductions. Everybody that's here has been on the program before, but Sean, this is your 3rd time on the program.
Trifecta.
You are you're going towards we need a bio on the website status at this point.
I'm chief legal counsel for the Boss Hog.
Only because you have good taste in beer.
That's right.
That's true.
And you're the only one that will talk to us.
That gets my foot in the door in most places with most people.
Is beer still allowed? All you wanted to know this morning was, hey, is beer still allowed on the show?
I just don't want to get banned. Like I heard you guys have the ban hammer on a few people.
Well,
Chase came back, so
Chase got the ban hammer off of him. So
yeah, it was lifted, and he was able to come back with Eric Schonsberg, and he didn't say any more curse words. So we're going to let him come back again.
He did show up. If you listen to last week's Patreon portion of the show, Chase showed up with an old rotten banana.
Oh, exciting!
As a gift, and then the gift kept giving because it was still on the table when I came back in today.
He didn't take it with him.
It was rotting a week ago, and it only got better with time.
Poignant, fragrant. Yeah,
it's very good banana for banana bread.
Yeah, that's true. I guess we probably should go dig it out of the trash and let your bride cook up some banana bread.
That is something that we could maybe fix up for the Patreon people.
Banana bread?
Yeah, banana bread. But for now, we're just going to thank the people that are $50 and up. And you guys are the lifeblood of the show. And everything you do, we greatly appreciate. So thank you to Christopher Bilbrey of Perception is Reality in Winchester, Indiana, Brantley Spicer, Christy Avery, Jonathan Phillips, and Craig DaCosta. Brantley Spicer is also running for city council in Muncie.
Ward 3.
Yep. District 3. They have districts up there.
I feel like if you're going to support Chris Bowbury and his business, you need to mention the rest of them. Brant's selling insurance now up in Muncie. So if you want the Allstate insurance, go hit him up.
I was
Christy
going to
Avery
say
offers parking.
to donate to Brant's.
Or you can do that. Christy Avery offers parking in Fort Wayne.
The best parking there is.
John Phillips down at the Andy Moore Buick GMC in Fishers, and Craig DaCosta, the other attorney to the stars.
Oh, excellent.
But he's in Hawaii, so you just go visit him on vacation.
If I'm on vacation and in need, I'll know who to call.
He's the one that you call whenever you get a DUI in Hawaii.
Too many Mai Tais and pina coladas.
That's it. I drove right off the island.
Call Craig. All right. So if you don't want to support the show on Patreon, but you want to help us out a little bit, then there are a couple ways you can do that. You can do that by fulfilling our wishes of new equipment and the upgrades that we need around this place to make it even better. You can find all of those on the Amazon wish list. Just search Boss Hog of Liberty on Amazon. We also have some merchandise stores on tchip.com, and it's /BHOL1, BHOL2, BHOL3. And then we also
/ all the numbers.
Yes, just 1 through 3 for now until I add more. And we also have the GoFundMe page set up, and the GoFundMe is set up so that we can upgrade our camera equipment, and that's just gonna help us it's just gonna take us to the next level.
It'll solve the problem we had last week of the front end of the video being a mess.
Yep, that'll never happen again. I might get it uploaded to YouTube in 2 weeks.
We live in Mevo's world. All right. So Mason, you're here. You're a college student. You've just completed your first year at the Purdue University.
The Purdue University.
And
not so much about it.
How's the life going up there? Did they say, hey, you are a great student, it's completely free, no loans, you're good to go?
Yeah, that's not how it goes.
That's not how it worked out.
Didn't work out like that at all.
So you're going to have some firsthand experience with some of the stuff we're going to talk about.
A little bit.
All right.
You on track to amass like $250,000?
Oh, no, not that much. Not that much at all. But I mean, it's going to be a significant amount. So we'll be there.
Well, we've got some info. The Purdue's the school that I kind of identified. As we get into this, we'll get to talk about it a little bit. But Purdue University's done some things to control tuition and to try to create different opportunities. So we'll get into that a little bit. So Dakota, you have provided the guide. You did the legwork, and you are going to lead us through the outline.
I'm going to do my best. I'll do my best. Everybody just make a train behind me. I'll be the line leader. So the first thing
I feel like that needs some music.
Our producer's slacking. But I just got
he's
a
looking.
death stare.
He's looking.
Ooh.
He's lurking over there.
It's going to be, I guarantee that he's going to click a button, and it's either going to blow your combine. Turn your volume down now. Second of all, wait for the ad. It'll be a YouTube ad, and you're going to blow your ears off.
So the first thing I wanted to talk about is how college pricing works. How did we get to the point where colleges cost so much money? Why does it cost Mason so much money to go to Purdue University, which is actually significantly less than a lot of the other large universities around the nation, because of Mitch Daniels up there, and we'll get more into that in a little bit. But basically, I went through like 4 links. I used a lot of different sites for this. So if you are a Patreon member and you're like, there's no links to click on in the show notes, it's because there's too many. There's so many links for like every single one of these bullet points. But basically what it boils down to is there was a lot of people in government, and they thought, hey, we need to work harder to make college and higher education more available to every American.
That's your trains.
That's not a song. That's just the rumble of a train. If we opened the door, we'd hear that rolling through over here.
You didn't ask for songs. You said, I want to hear trains.
I hear the train a-coming. All right.
I was going 70s disco party music is what I thought was coming.
Yeah.
I was
Train?
Yeah,
I was thinking, all aboard, baby, bang, bang. Yeah. So we were all on different pages.
I'm thinking of an actual train.
Mason, somebody's like, hey, I need some train music. What are you giving us, Mr. Frat Boy?
I'm thinking something you're going to listen to on the train, not like just like some trains in the background.
Well, is train music similar to like elevator music?
I'd say something like that.
Hopefully,
Depends on what kind of train.
It's just
you're
Frank
on.
Sinatra.
more
Is
like
that-
Kenny G. Like
Kenny G. Yeah, just some clarinet back there.
Kenny G is a saxophone player. We'll forgive you. You're not actually graduated from college yet, so there's no reason you should know that. You're not old.
He's so much younger than you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Um,
I'm the oldest
Okay.
person in this room, and I just realized it.
that's just sad.
30 years on me.
Shut up. Wait, shut up.
So
Hey, Dad.
the
Well, that's actually close to being.
there were a lot of things that really revolutionized the American collegiate level of education. A lot of very significant turning points. I think one of the earliest turning points that we have, like on record, that we can tell made huge leaps and bounds in the amount of people that were going to college was actually the GI Bill, which was signed into law in 1944, and by 1947. Just under 50% of Americans that were attending college and university were recipients of the GI Bill. So that dramatically changed the amount of people that were attending college compared to the hundreds of years before that, where it was just a very affluent white male culture on colleges all across the nation. And now the people who are coming in from fields of battle could go to college and learn. And there were thousands of men and women that were educated because of that.
And what's happened is you have basically an almost endless supply of revenue available. So it's not market driven. So to say that, well, college is too expensive, so I can't do it, because you've got people that just have a voucher for free education. So it's good for whatever you want it to be. If you're talking about the GI Bill at that time, or eventually the next step that came along is that you had government backed student loans that allowed Mason, who's not credit worthy in any way, to go sign up for, I don't know, $25,000 a year in federal student loans, federal and private student loans, if you wanted to do it.
Yep.
I would assume.
And
We've not talked about the financials. I just did a little bit of brief. How much is it? What's the most you ever spent at Aldi or whatever, or Walmart? And you're like, $80. So that wasn't true. That was,
Bought some groceries once.
you bought $300 worth of groceries one time, right?
Once.
So before,
A lot of ramen.
whenever the government first started handing out federally subsidized student loans, they weren't even covering the full cost of your education. Even though college back then might have cost you $2,000 a year for Purdue University or something. I don't know how much Purdue actually charged in the late 60s and early 70s, but that's it. They didn't even cover the entire amount. Like you were still on the hook for like $1,000, which could you imagine you right now that you're like, man, I got to pay $1,000 to get through the rest of the year at college. Like you would be like, I got to pay $1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about how you piece it together, and I think when we get to the end of this story, there are options and ways you can get through without having to take this dead on. But back in my day, which I know has been 15 years since I started college, but Ivy Tech was $1,500 a semester. Like it was about $300 a class. You could work and make it happen and get your first 2 years. It's all about the decisions you make.
Right. But there's this weird thing that we have in our culture right now where it's like 18-year-olds are expected to know exactly what they want to do for the rest of their entire adult lives. And you are going to be shouldered with $100,000 of debt for a decision that you made at the age of 18.
You can end up being something stupid like an attorney.
Yeah.
Or worse, a philosopher. That's what I was
Seriously.
going to school for.
Yeah. I feel like
think
so
about that.
At Hanover?
No, at Taylor. Yeah.
I feel like philosophy and like psychology 4-year degrees, those are the degrees that you get whenever you sign up for college and you just don't really know what you want to do. But you're like, philosophy is pretty interesting.
The philosophy is really hard work, though. And
That's true.
people think that
It's hard to find work as a stand-up philosopher.
It is hard, but it's challenging academic work too, and it prepares you for a lot of people go out of that and become attorneys for that reason, because there's a lot of writing and a lot of analytical thinking that's required for sure for a position like that. So there's something to it, but it's certainly not something where there's a philosophy store and I go work on philosophy.
If you got, seriously, no matter what you're doing right now, driving your car, I don't care. I want you to send me an email right now, Jeremiah@bosshogofliberty.com. If you got my stand-up philosopher joke, I want an email.
I didn't know. It went over my head.
You think it went over yours too?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Anybody in the room? Nobody.
Bueller.
He's so old.
Mel Brooks. It was Mel Brooks, History of the World.
I should know.
I thought I was going to connect with Sean on that one.
That's my bad.
God
I
dang
missed
it.
it.
Really? I mean, like, somebody.
I didn't get it.
Somebody's going to email me and say, yes, I got that.
But
You and I
now,
are probably the only two that's actually seen that movie. So
yeah, I've never seen it. But now what has happened with the business of student loans is like, it's very similar to the meme that I posted on the Boss Hog of Liberty page today before the show. And it's a scene from Fairly Odd Parents. And it's Timmy Turner selling lemonade at a lemonade stand. Kid comes up and the sign says 25 cents, lemonade 25 cents. And the kid goes, oh, look, that's perfect. I have a federal loan for 25 cents. And then Timmy Turner goes, oh, wait. And then goes and replaces a sign and it says 40 cents. And that's been happening for decades now.
The goalpost moves and moves and moves.
You can get federal student loans. I think this is per semester. There were a lot of different figures I looked at. So I think this is per semester. It'd be $31,500. I'm not sure. That could be yearly.
I actually think that's over 4 years. You can only pull out.
Was it?
There are different
I think
programs.
I think it's
that's the federally guaranteed.
Yeah.
You run to a certain point as an individual where you can get that much in in federal student loans, and then you can go to the unsecured market, and then you can also go to the next level of Parent Plus. So when you've extended every nickel that you can borrow, Mason, then it becomes mom and dad's job when you get into that third or fourth year of school, and damn it, we got to get him through. He's got to finish, or else it's just a giant, enormous waste of time. Now mom and dad have to sign up for the Parent Plus loans, where you each, they basically co-sign for you, and maybe you each do half.
Yeah. So for the first year, I think it's a guaranteed $5,500. And after, like they say, oh, you're going to go back to school, they'll give you a little bit more each time, and eventually adds up to, I think, around there. I can't say anything. I pull them out. So I think it's a little bit of a small amount, 31,000. I mean, in no way, shape, or form do I like loans, especially student loans, but we all need to get that insane amount from somewhere to pay for it. So
let's talk about this as a student going in. Did you sit down with a guidance counselor or your mom and dad, or go to something on campus and say, hey, these are your options for what to do? Or is it just fill these forms out and find a way to cobble it together?
We really sat down with an advisor from, I think it's Invest Ed from Indiana. And originally I wasn't going to Purdue. I was going to Butler. And, Purdue is
an in-state school.
An in-state. It's
better in football.
Yeah, you can say that. Well, it's also a third of the cost of Butler
because it's in state
for a year, because it's a state college. And I realized that though Butler gave a lot of assistance, it didn't come down to Purdue. This year at Purdue, I paid, I believe, $2,400. Like with the $5,500 loan, I paid $2,400 out of that $55,000. Like if I wouldn't have pulled the loan, that's how much out of pocket I would have paid for the year.
$2,400.
$2,400.
Because you had scholarships.
I had one-time scholarship through the community foundation, but also Purdue does this really cool thing now. They introduced it this last year. It's called the Boiler Affordability Grant. And if you live in a household that makes less than $70,000, based off that, you give your FAFSA and everything and your financial aid eligibility, and they give you so much off that. And whatever scholarship you bring in, it fluctuates, because I started out with like $11,000 in that affordability grant. So that's half of total costs for Purdue, because it's like $22,600, something like that. And I got an $8,000 scholarship through the community foundation. And based off that, they changed how much I got in that affordability grant, because if they would have kept it the same before that scholarship,
You would have had money towards
I would
next
have
year,
had
right?
money towards next year. But then they took some away out of that grant, and then I ended up owing money to the university to go for the year.
Yep.
It's complicated.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about. There's so much to unpack whenever you're talking about college and pricing and how it got this way. I spent like the last few days, I usually listen to podcasts while I'm driving around for work. And this time I just had YouTube videos about college education playing in the background. I listened to like Dave Ramsey talk about college education, and he gave like, his was like something like 75 minutes. There was so much in that. And I was like, I wish I could just like retain all of this and then spit it out verbatim.
So the
on Wednesday.
the decisions that you make now decide how long you're going to be paying student loans for, though.
Absolutely.
Because you can make, your housing choice, right? When you applied for housing at Purdue, you had to say, hey, I want to be in the fancy air conditioned, I don't want to have a roommate dorm, or I want to be in whatever the cheapest thing is you have available.
Absolutely.
And it's a few $1,000s a
And they
year
don't
difference.
show you the prices. They don't show you the prices of housing. It's just you put them, rank them in order from like apartment or single with AC, double with AC, and a couple others.
Surely that's
quad
on
with
Reddit.
AC.
You got to be able to do your legwork and figure that out, right?
I'm not wasting my time. I'm just going to apply.
It's only a $4,000 conversation. Well, I'm not wasting my time.
But
Why should he be the one to decode all this? Why shouldn't
Right.
it just be
Why
upfront
isn't there
pricing?
an upfront price, right? Yeah.
Right.
yeah, they don't show you the prices. So, I mean, you can go on their website and see like the rooming contracts and things like that. And that's for every university. And I wasn't wasting my,
I'm going to school. It doesn't matter.
I'm just going to school. So I was like, apartment with AC. And I mean, I only paid, I think it was $2,400 for rooming, like basically, and with everything coming through.
And then board, right? Room and board. So
Board.
board being the food.
Yeah.
You have a food plan to pick, right?
Well, yeah, I picked that
And
unlimited.
it depends upon how many breakfasts you require.
I picked that unlimited.
He's like, I picked the
I
unlimited.
got
man.
that unlimited
I
with
want
the
that fresh-
extra cash.
I want that freshman 40.
It was like I could just it was like a universal pass. It's like
that's a similar theme on a lot of different college campuses. It's like a cable company. They're like, it's your bill's going to be this much with just internet, but for only $5 more a month, you can get our basic cable package.
your 30 channels.
But along with the basic cable package, we have to sell you the landline too.
Yep.
But if you pay $10 more than that, then you can get more channels on your television and long distance calls on your landline. And you're like, what even is all this? There's a lot to decipher, but you're talking about thousands of dollars being made, $1,000 decisions being made, and they're not even telling you the price.
Now, I'll tell you this. I think, I'm going to be honest, I swear where they get you in college is the meal plans. I swear. I mean, trust me, I ate my fair share. I ate so much.
Purdue's got pretty good food, though.
Oh, it was
Yes, they do.
quality. And
They have their own on-site slaughterhouse. The beef has got to be
it's
phenomenal.
the butcher block, the boiler butcher block. It's great.
I toured it. It's a brand new building.
It's
I went
nice.
into the kill room. It was great.
And I think the meal plan I had was $6,000. Now, if I didn't eat because they get that food dirt cheap. Like they get 1,000.
Yeah, it just comes in from Gordon Food Service.
Exactly.
And,
They pay so much less than I paid. I think for $6,000, I could have kept like that paid for the whole entire food. I swear, for that whole entire dining court for the year. Like that's over exaggerating, but I mean like $6,000 is probably like not much compared to how much comes in each kid depending on their meal plan, and how much they buy in food for the dining halls.
So the other tricky thing, and I don't know if you know this about Purdue or if they talked about this with you, but you can get through a 4-year school in less than 4 years at Purdue. Basically, you don't get charged per credit hour at some universities. Like when Ivy Tech and Indiana Wesleyan, the schools I attended, it's so much money per credit hour.
Yep.
At Purdue, you pay per semester.
Per semester.
So that's another opportunity for people to zip through quicker or save some money.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just not that smart, so.
You're in an incredibly difficult program. You're a pharmacy student.
We'll get through it as long as it takes. We'll get there.
We'll get through it.
I'm going to graduate eventually program.
I'm working on that 6-year degree.
What it takes over half of American college students. It takes longer than 4 years to get their 4-year
Absolutely.
degree.
I actually just saw a tweet today. It was ironic. It said, just finished my 2-year associate's degree in 7 years. And I was like,
okay. I'm still working on my associate's degree from whenever I was 18 too. So
I don't think that's a problem. It's just it's going to become a problem when you're paying all this money right here. That's it.
Sean, you're in your mid 30s now.
Yes.
How familiar does this sound to your college experience?
Personally, I did not have to pay for tuition because I had a parent that was a employee of the university, but I did pay for room and board. Did want to have the campus experience. So when I walk away from that, it's not really that substantial. But then when you pile on, a couple of years of graduate school and 3 years of law school, even working through a lot of those things, it can pile up quickly.
Total non sequitur.
Yes.
When you went to Tyler, was that the bus accident? Was that after you? Were you already out? On I-69?
I was there.
Student?
Yeah, I was there, and I knew a couple of people on the.
Yeah. Well, that's a way to bring down the show.
Wow, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
We weren't.
We were having such a joyous discussion about student loans.
Joyous.
So then there was this time all Sean's friends died in the interstate.
A few acquaintances, but very, very nice people, and it was a tough time to be on campus at the time, and
I can imagine. I literally just did the math, going, man, I remember how old I was at the time, and it makes sense.
That was junior year, yeah. So
anyway, you can all Google that. It was before you were born.
Yeah.
No, the issue, I think, that the inflation adjusted tuition tripling over the last 30 years. I mean, there's like just such a quick uptick in the cost of loans, that it's not really justified by anything other than, colleges want more and the spigots are open and they're going to get the money.
Well, we've got this culture now throughout the entire United States that you're in high school and every single teacher that you have from the time that you're even in 5th grade is telling you
have to go.
Once you get out of high school, then you got 4 more years of college. And it's not even a question. You're going to college. And I whenever I was in high school and I was looking at colleges, went on a couple of different campus tours, actually enrolled and went to orientation at IU East my senior year.
You were just following your girlfriend. We all know that.
Yeah. No, she was going to University of Indianapolis at that time. Anyway, so then I'm like, you know what? I really have no idea what I want to do with my life. So I was going to be taking a lot of philosophy classes and psychology classes, just like I talked about earlier. Sure. And I'm like, what do I want to do? And I'm looking at all these different careers, and I bounced around everywhere. I'm like, I can be a chiropractor, or I could be a marketing specialist. I had no idea. And then I decided, you know what? I like working with my hands a lot. I'd been in the building trades program, and I job shadowed an electrician, and I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to go to college. I'm going to be an electrician. And everybody freaked out. The guidance counselor at school and every single teacher that I told this to all said the exact same thing. And it was, you can't do that. You're too smart to not go to college. Think about your future. And I was even told by one teacher, don't you want to be able to provide a living for your future family? Oh, yeah, because you can't do that as an electrician, as it turns out. You can't do that unless you go to college. And I haven't looked back.
Yeah.
There
were a few times where I was slightly disappointed and
the biggest thing
myself.
You miss out on is discounted software.
Well, it was whenever I was seeing pictures of Chase whenever he was at Liberty University and he's partying it up down there with Jerry Falwell. And I'm seeing all my friends that did go to college and they're having so much fun. And here I am working 7 12-hour days on a construction site. I'm like, you know what? they were all right.
But you had the funds to prove to yourself that this was a good decision.
Well, then I bought a house and it went okay.
I think the tide's kind of turning though, as far as cultural attitudes, because I think growing up that was very similar to my upbringing, and I'm glad I went to college. It's not I shouldn't have went to college, because without that I wouldn't be where I'm at now. But it's just not for everybody. It's not a universal thing where the Democrats and the left lose me as somebody that's open-minded is that they want to make college a universal,
right.
Whoever can go to college can go to college. And it's just, that's not really how this is going to work going forward.
Yeah. It's not a great idea, because if you take something special and then you flood the market with it, it is no longer special. And we already have projections that by 2030, 65% of jobs in the United States are going to require a 4-year college degree. That's a lot of jobs. A lot of the jobs out there are going to require a 4-year college degree. If college becomes a right instead of a privilege, and it is afforded to everyone at no cost, you have no skin in the game whenever you get it, then imagine how much higher that number is going to go.
Right.
And the people that don't make it out of college, the 37% of American college students that don't actually graduate, what happens to them? Where are they going to go? What jobs do they have?
Well, they'll eventually migrate to some other place as far as in the workforce, but I don't know if you're familiar with like This Old House.
Absolutely.
I watch it every week religiously. And
I'm more of an Ask This Old House guy than
okay.
This Old House guy.
I like both, because it takes me about an hour to drink coffee on Saturday. So I'm drinking my coffee on Saturday watching This Old House. And then one of the things they've really promoted.
Richard Trethewey is my guy. I don't know about you. Oh, yeah. Big Richard fan.
I'm a big Norm guy.
Oh, you old man.
Yeah.
Norm and yeah. So anyway,
we've lost Mason completely once again.
They're pushing.
He has no idea.
One of the big initiatives that they're pushing is the
trades.
The trades that there's so many people that are in the trades now that are going to be retirement age, like
for sure.
Norm. People of that age.
Tommy Silva.
Tommy Silva is going to retire someday.
It's like there should be hero cards for these men.
But who's going to come up in the trades and because there will be tons of jobs available to people, and it's not. College
I've been on the construction sites and I've seen it, and you have older folks who are in their late 50s, starting to get towards 60, and a lot of those guys are really, really smart. They're very intelligent. Of course, I was in the electrical industry. I was an industrial electrician. So running big pipe for wire and things. And a lot of those guys,
idiot.
They
don't
know
run
math.
electricity through pipes.
Oh, yeah.
That's where the internet comes out of.
What do I know?
Pipes.
It's all pipes.
Dang it. I've been a plumber all this time.
You've been a Richard Trethewey.
Yeah. But a lot of these guys are really, really, really good at math. And then you have the people who, if there were younger people on the construction side, a lot of times I was the only guy. I was the only one that bridged the gap between.
You were in charge of pairing their iPhones to their cars, weren't you?
I was one of the only millennials on a job site for multiple times, and it was if another young person did come on the site and they were going to be a construction helper, and then half the time they were the bottom scrapings. They had been in a lot of trouble in their past, and they just needed something that they could make money. And not that those people shouldn't have jobs, and not that those people can't be good at construction jobs, but
it was a last resort.
If it continues on that balance, if it continues on that path, then you will have such a great imbalance of all of these people who were really, really intelligent being replaced with people that this was just the backup plan of the backup plan. And they don't really care about the trade or their job, so they just do it for a paycheck. And you don't want those people on a construction site for a couple of different reasons.
Or in your house, or
whatever. It just makes it's not a good working environment if a site gets inflated with them.
So let's attempt to divert back in so we can keep this under 5 hours today.
Probably not.
We've looked at trades. We've looked at the headwinds that you have as a student today as you're coming in. Modern policy, current policy, and this is what got Sean booked on the show this week, is his views. One of the presidential candidates, this is kind of the cycle we've gotten into here on the show, is we look at these presidential candidates who are mostly the Democrats, because there's only the one there's one, and then there's a fake Republican on the GOP side. By the way, that guy watched me and Dakota speak once.
He clapped for me.
He did. He was very proud of us. Anyway, totally off topic, but we have these policy initiatives that are coming about, and one of them is Senator Elizabeth Warren, who is talking about student loan forgiveness. And she has a plan that she's rolled out that Sean says, hey, let's actually have a conversation about this, because one side is trying to do something and talking about it and might win on the issue, whether they're right or not. And Republicans say, well, you need to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Right. That's the boiled down version.
Yeah. I mean, the self-sufficient message is important in life, but for something that's so pervasive in the system, self-sufficiency is not going to solve this problem. And the fact that there are some on the left that are actually saying that this is a real problem, and that everyone else is on the right is saying, well, this isn't a problem at all, or I'm not going to say anything at all about it, is really discouraging. And I think there's fiscally responsible ways to address the student loan debt issue.
And then I've heard it said a lot in the YouTube videos that I've been watching this past week. Everyone keeps comparing the looming student debt that is over the country, which is at $1.3 trillion right now. Mm-hmm. They keep comparing it to the housing bubble, mm-hmm. and whenever it collapsed, and they say, you think that was bad? Mm-hmm. Just wait until 90% of students are defaulting on their student loans, and they can't declare bankruptcy.
You can't. Yeah, I was going to say, federally, you cannot. They are with you until you're dead. You've either paid them, or you've died, or you are incapacitated. Right. That's the only way you get out of them. You cannot bankrupt them.
There are a lot of college students or past college students that they don't pay them. Mm-hmm. You can't default on them, but you just can't pay them. And the reason that you can't default on a student loan or claim it in bankruptcy is because the government says
they've guaranteed it.
Well, they say, there's no collateral with an education. We can't steal your education back from you that we paid for. So there's nothing that we can take back, which you probably can. I mean, the science is probably there now. We could probably erase that past 4 years.
Little Men in Black thing, right?
Yeah, we're just going to take this back. But it's I do think that it's an issue, and I think that it's important to be brought up.
So Elizabeth Warren wants to go in and eliminate $640 billion worth of federal student loans.
Right.
Saying you could, if you have a household income under $100,000, you could have $50,000 in debt canceled.
Yep. And if you are a household making more than $250,000, then you would have to apply to have your portfolio combed through with a fine-tooth comb, and then see if you would actually get student loan forgiveness. But you still wouldn't get the full $50,000.
So, in theory, let's just talk about this for a half second and take this policy somewhat seriously. What happens to the family that makes $130,000 a year, $120,000 a year? If you have two people that went to a 4-year college, mm-hmm. let's say that you're hoping in 10 years out of school they're making $60,000 a piece. That's not an unreasonable expectation. Now they're over her $100,000 limit. What happens to those people?
Well, I think this is one of the weaknesses of the policy is that it's tiered, right? Mm-hmm. So that if you're on a lower tier, I think it doesn't start at 100,000. I don't think. I think it starts lower than that at like 50,000 or something like that. But if you're at a certain level, you'll get a certain amount forgiven, and that's decreased as your income increases, which I think is a real weakness to the plan, because the people that are the higher wage earners are the people that are going to be owning the small businesses, driving economic development in local communities like this one.
They're the ones that are feeling the boat anchor of this.
And most of the time, those folks are the ones who are the lawyers that are making more than that. And they went to school for a really long time and amassed more student debt than the guy that can't pay for his associate's degree. And makes $50,000 a year.
All of this debt, what it does is and studies have shown this, that it puts off milestones in your life. Mm-hmm. You buy a house later, you get married later, you have kids later, if at all. And these are all things that slow the economy, right? Mm-hmm. That, as you're having kids, they're coming along faster. We need, generations instead of replacing ourselves every 20 years. Now we're replacing ourselves every 25, 30, 35, 40 years. Mm-hmm. So we're almost missing generations of American population that could be producing.
Right.
Right. And Elizabeth Warren,
you're already late having kids, Dakota. And I'm twice as late.
I'm right on time.
You're just an overachiever, Mr. Wearing a suit and tie.
Wearing a suit and tie to the Boss
I'm
Hog.
a lawyer. I wear glasses.
Those are stunt glasses. He doesn't really need them.
These don't have any lenses in them. So.
Clark Kent over
Hipster
there.
Glasses. She does have a plan, and I'm using air quotes whenever I say that. And she proposes a 2% tax on, I think it was the net worth of the richest 1% of Americans, which was interesting.
It's always those same people getting picked on.
Yeah,
every time. How many times can you milk the same stone for?
Old man yells at rich people. She's proposing a 2% tax, and it's not on income. It is on some type of work, and they're not calling it a tax. She's calling it a levy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the tomato, but at the same time...
levy is theft.
I mean, the idea is, at least she's proposing something, whereas Donald J. Trump has not proposed
this has not been an issue he's talked about
at all, because he's like 70, and he doesn't really care about what happens to the planet in the next 10 years.
He went to college,
it
was $2,000. And he was the son of a billionaire, so there's no problem.
He went to Wharton in the 70s, right?
If it literally does not affect his family or one of his rich friends, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And this has been your anti-Trump moment. I got it in.
Is there theme music? No, of course not.
No, there's trains.
So I do have a list of the pros and cons of her plan that I was able to pull. I used the Levy Economics Institute from Bard College.
That sounds like a fake college. That sounds like Trump University.
The College of the Bods.
Like an Oblivion or something.
Yeah, exactly. And they had issued a paper that had some interesting numbers in it that said, let's break this down by the numbers and see what this could impact if her plan actually went through. And then the Manhattan Institute, they released a similar study, but it was all just trashing it. Like, this is a horrible idea. So I took 3 bullet points from each of them. So we already talked about college debt is linked to delayed milestones in adulthood. So you get rid of the debt. Maybe we would return back to these traditional milestones.
And you'd have people that can spend money, start a business or buy a car or whatever that they're holding
It's similar to what we talked about with Eric Schonsberg with the universal basic income last week.
It does tie in.
Yeah. So they also said that eliminating the student debt would actually increase the net worth of the average American household. And of course, because they no longer have crippling debt. But they also say it could send $1.1 trillion to the economy over the next decade, which is a lot of money.
I think that's kind of conservative too.
Yeah.
Because
Medium, Slate, some other left, like the hard left-leaning websites that I was looking at, they always had it like in the 1.6, 1.7, somewhere around that range. But the Bards,
it's hard to project out at 10 years. I understand that, but I think that certainly would be a net gain there
for sure. Just like we were talking about with Eric. And then also the increased amount of disposable income could help more young entrepreneurs start their businesses. They also said that it can lead up to 1.5 million new jobs in the United States per year. 1.5 million new jobs per year, not in a 10-year period. They were projecting that every single year after student loan forgiveness.
Are you saying this is the one time a broken window liberal policy is going to stimulate the economy? Are you agreeing with this? You're on board with this?
I'm just pointing out what this, what the Levy Economics Institute has to say about it.
Are you buying any of this, Mason?
1.5 seems a little steep.
You pulling a Democrat ballot this November, or not November, next May?
Well, we'll get through it.
You gonna pull that lever for Elizabeth Warren, my lady Warren? I'm with her.
Well, it is the one-time fix. I mean, you don't theoretically you can't pull the rabbit out of the hat again because it's just not there to be had.
Right, and that was one of the cons that was brought up by the Manhattan Institute. They said it.
Oh, don't think that we won't get in student loan debt after this.
Right,
as a society.
I mean,
systemically, we'll have to forgive it again somewhere else.
You would have to overhaul everything, and I don't think that there's any Democrat with enough political clout to do that.
No,
especially with Congress as it is now.
And by the way, how unfair is it to everybody that went through college like I did? Let's just say a minute. That went to 2 years of community college and was a commuter student and suffered through and worked and found scholarships and found ways to work for an employer that paid for it.
I would say this.
That scrimped and scraved and had no money to start, but found a way to get through without student loans.
If it's something that improves the economy generally,
I want mine.
Well, there's a lot of things.
I want my $50,000 check.
There's a lot of Republican or libertarian policies that would not necessarily affect me that I would support because it betters the economy in general.
But there will be a side of the economy or a side of the stakeholders that are going to say, they're going to raise their hand and say, I want my cut.
Or you're no longer a stakeholder if you don't own debt.
I'm in the society.
Well, it's what? Let's Louis C.K. has that quote of the only time you should look in your brother's cup is to make sure he has enough. Not to ask what.
That's what Louis C.K. is known for. Yes.
Are we allowed to quote Louis C.K. anymore?
I don't know if it's time yet. This is your podcast, not mine.
I don't know if it's.
He's touring again. It's okay.
I don't know if enough time has passed.
Listen, he apologized.
Louis C.K.
He's touring again.
Was a comedian who used to be widely accepted as funny.
Extremely famous.
And then Me Too happened.
Yeah, I
you know the story.
I know a little bit of it.
He was alive then. He was alive a year ago.
Then.
I'm going to just explain everything to him. George W. Bush was a war criminal president. All right.
So the other
he was
concern,
probably president when you were born, wasn't he?
Yeah.
The other concern, and I think that this is actually the biggest concern from the Manhattan Institute, and I was talking about the 2% levy on the 1%'s wealth would actually not come close to paying for the proposed solution. It would raise $275 billion, and she needs, what, 640?
And the top 1% are pretty good at not paying taxes.
The important thing to remember,
that's the other thing,
because they got
the federal
dang
government
lawyers.
A little slippery.
The federal government never pays for anything. They don't pay for wars. They don't pay for tax cuts. None of this. 20 years ago, when you're proposing this stuff actually had to make sense and match.
Right.
Katie barred the door. We're adding $1 trillion to 1.5 trillion a year in debt. It does not matter. We as voters don't give a damn. Doesn't have to tie. We don't practice accounting. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
It's a non-starter.
Well, when the banks come in after the financial crisis and they say, well, either you give us exactly what we want or there's going to be martial law in the streets and there's going to be blood in the streets. And then
it's going to be bloody.
And then they get exactly what they want and they get the golden parachutes. And then you have a whole generation of people really struggling with this, looking for a real solution. Mm-hmm. And then you have a whole party that just does not care at all about this. I find it really troubling. And I think that the Warren proposal is problematic. And I think that it would have to require some wide sweeping systemic change that nobody has the stomach for.
What it's going to take is a comprehensive list of things that from after doing a multivariable analysis of what are the true reasons and what are the things that we can immediately fix and what are some of the things that need to be fixed as we continue down this road. Right. It's not going to be the Warren plan is just slapping the Band-Aid on the symptom, on the 6-inch cut. Yeah. They also said that, listen, the federal government has so many other obligations and we can't pay it. We're $22 trillion in debt. And Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid are expected to be deflated by 2035. Why are we talking about trying to implement new taxes to pay for new programs? This is what they wound up ending the argument on.
In 10 or 15, 20 years, you're going to have real civil unrest over the fact that all these people have defaulted, cannot get credit now, and are just stuck in this existence.
And then it's if you listen to Andrew Yang, all those people are unemployed because their jobs have been taken by robots.
This has turned into the second most sad and depressing part of the show tonight.
Yang Gang.
Are
you remember the Yang Gang?
He addressed his followers as the Yang Gang on a live stream.
It's like a Reddit thing, apparently, but I'm too old to know about Reddit. Do you know about Reddit, Yang Gang, at all?
It was
I know about Reddit. I wasn't born on Boss. It's like
what about Yang Gang?
It was actually
I defer to our relative or our resident young person.
The Tide Pod eater in the corner.
It was actually started on 4chan.
4chan. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
it's a hotbed of.
And the reason that it started over there was the alt-right now hates Trump. If you don't know, because
they turned on him.
Yeah, because he supports Israel so much, and they hate Jews, so now they hate him. So then they said, listen, everything that we want, nothing, even this guy we loved isn't able to deliver.
Right.
So let's just keep things going the way that we hate, but we might as well get $1,000 a month. So that was the start of Yang Gang.
So the alt-right turned into Yang Gang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've seen generation after generation has said, okay, we're in so much debt. We're going to be in debt. It literally is the proverbial kicking the can down the road. You just want to have your life come and go before we have to pay the piper. That's what's happening here. So we restructure the debt, we borrow it, and we just hope that we're dead and gone before it becomes a problem. So we're $22 trillion in debt. The one serious proposal we see out there right now is this, hey, we're going to forgive half of the debt for the individuals and take it on the federal side, which is very problematic. Mm-hmm. What other solutions are there actually out there? Are there any other serious proposals, Dakota?
Yeah, there are a couple. One of the ones that I actually really liked, and Gary Johnson talked about this during the 2016 campaign, and he got a lot of hate from the purist libertarians, was he talked about Oregon's Pay It Forward, Pay It Back program, which was enacted over there in 2013. But basically, the state pays for the students to attend an in-state college for 4 years. The state pays for it. And then once that student graduates and they start working, then the student pays back the state in the form of just like it's just added on to their taxes. It's automatically taken out of their paycheck. And that is based on a scale of how much you actually earn in income.
So that really dovetails into Purdue and what Purdue's done with the bachelor boiler program. Cool proposal. One that did not make the list, the state of Tennessee, if you go to an in-state school, your first 2 years are free.
Yep.
So you get an
associate's degree.
Yeah, you get an associate's degree. There's no cost at all. So back a boiler is something that Purdue came out with about 2 years ago. In their program, you have to be a Purdue University student. It's not available to freshmen, but it is for sophomores on up. You get a interest-free loan up to say $5,000, I think, per semester, somewhere in that range. We'll say $5,000 for now. We'll use round numbers. $5,000 a semester. You don't have to use the whole thing if you don't want to, and you do not pay interest on it. Your repay is 10% of your income until 10 years has gone by, or you have paid back 2.5 times what you borrowed. So it's interest free.
And these are private individuals that are choosing to back Purdue University.
These are Purdue University alumni that are funding this program. It's an investment for them, and that's why it's called Back a Boiler. You're a boiler alum. You put money in a pot, and then Purdue, as a community, decides that they're going to fund this. It's a voluntary program. No interest. The nice thing, the appealing side to me is, okay, if you graduate from college, Mason, at 23 years old, 22 years old, no matter what, you are done with your obligation in 10 years. So you're 32, 33-year-old, you are free and you're good to go. So that solves the, I'm saddled with this. I can't get rid of it. I've got it for life. I can't bankrupt it. You're good. And you can also pay it off early. So if you land the job where it's just insane and you're going to do insanely well, say you borrowed $20,000 through this program, you pay back $50,000 and you're free and clear forever. You're good. Or you pay 10% of what you're making until you've paid back 2.5 times, or you get to the 10-year mark. Any of those. This is not necessarily completely designed to replace student loans, but it's another tool in the toolbox that I really think is, instead of having the federal government pay for this, right? You're using the Purdue University, the alumni association, the alumni program to do that.
And
they're making money on it.
Also proposals of not forcing state or private colleges to curb the amount of faculty they have, the amount of buildings that they build, which is where a lot of our cost comes from, is the outrageous amount of administrators on college campuses now. And but there are ideas rather of encouragement from the federal government of we have these grants, but you hired this many more people last year and raised your tuition rates this much, so you're automatically taken out of the equation for this money. And doing so, the idea is everybody's going to do what Mitch Daniels has done at Purdue and freeze their tuition rates and decide, we're not raising costs because we're going to find ways to trim the fat here, which is absolutely amazing that Mitch Daniels is doing that without that other type of encouragement coming through. What is it, going on 7 years that he hasn't raised the tuition?
So. It's been a decent amount.
Yeah.
And every time something like that comes along, he shoots an email to us. Just recently, they announced the tuition freeze, and I'm going to find that. They announced the tuition freeze through, I think it's like 2022.
So you're going to pay the same throughout your entire college program?
Yeah. Well, until I get into grad school, because Purdue University does like 2 years, 2 years,
grad school.
2 years undergrad.
I'm going to
4
be
years
Dr.
grad.
Mason if everything goes okay.
But yeah, I am going to be kind of a doctor.
You're going to wear a white lab coat, right?
It counts.
Doctor enough.
I'm kind of a lawyer, so
it says,
that's all good.
So this coming year will be the 8th year. So 7th previously through 2021. But also, it says a 2.5% merit raise pool for all the faculty and staff, and all staff on the campus making less than $75,000 or less receive a one-time $500 appreciation bonus in the spring. And they've actually been cracking down. I always hear on campus about like, oh, there's a meeting tonight with, board members and alumni about the tuition freeze and how much longer he's going to be able to do it. I also heard rumor, but like it hasn't been like announced. He doesn't take any,
He works for free.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that. No, he doesn't work for free, but he doesn't take,
He doesn't take a salary paid for by the school.
he takes a lot less than he should.
Yeah.
I mean, he only made $130,000 a year as governor, and y'all give him free housing up there.
Yeah,
right?
he lives right there off the campus, and
You ever visit him? You ever hang out with Mitch?
I kind of want to have dinner with him, but
You should try to make that
and
happen.
he's not a hard guy to find.
He looks like John Andretti.
Make that
He's
happen.
just-
Bring him back as a guest.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
I would love to have Mitch
That's the
Daniels
end.
here as a guest.
I'm gonna try that.
I would just for the occasion, I would put one of those little stickers on the back of my truck that has the caricature peeing on the My Man Mitch thing. I'd be like, "Oh, sorry, sir.
How
did you see my truck?"
embarrassing. I had
Pulls up, sees that, just drives away.
Just keeps driving.
When Mitch was running for governor, it was one of the most interesting. It was 2004. I was a college student, and he came to visit my school,
Yeah.
and I signed the
You did the bus.
I signed the bus. Yeah, he came to Ivy Tech in Muncie at the time. It was a big deal. All
It's
right.
a big deal.
So then,
very impressive
Then
guy.
we have the Yang Gang proposal. Yang Gang. Andrew Yang has proposed to make student debt. He's got basically these 4 steps to his plan. He wants to make student debt dischargeable in bankruptcy.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That started getting harder from Jimmy Carter, right? Yeah. And he says that He wants students to make payments based on a % of their income, and he wants it to come out of your paycheck just like a tax. And then he wants to eliminate all interest rates on subsidized as well as unsubsidized loans. So he wants to make law, even if you get a personal loan paying for your college, there is no interest rate.
That's never going to happen.
Why would you have any incentive whatsoever to make that loan?
You wouldn't.
If you are Chase Bank,
Right.
and you're offering student loans, you're doing that because you
Out of
are
the goodness
going
of
to,
their heart, man.
You
Right.
are going to make money for the bank.
Privately,
Don't you
it'll
know?
never happen. It'll never pass.
It's-
If you are still saying that the federal government should be in the business of providing loans, I think that's something that a very liberal Congress could get behind and say, we're going to do that. I mean, I guess there's deeper philosophical questions as to should the government charge interest on student loans? Should the government be student loan interest industry in the first place?
Right. And
When
he
you get into
He also wants to increase the bureaucracy around college tuition. So he wants you to go. He wants there to be a group of people, and they say, Purdue University, Mitch Daniels, you have to drop your tuition rates, and there's nothing you can do about it. Mm-hmm. So that's the Yang Gang proposal. And then there's also the proposal of Mitch McConnell and President Donald J. Trump, and that is the old do nothing proposal.
Do nothing because you're not a bank or a coal company or whatever we're going to care about. I'm like, man,
you're crowded out. My problem is that
I
when
got an
you
axe to grind, don't I?
when you have federal student loans, there is no aggressive marketing of student loans. Nobody's trying to be your student loan company.
Right.
It's a last resort, and you're not competing. It's not, hey, here's these 15 banks that want to do business with you, and they're trying. It's not. They're not on TV trying to sell you student loans.
Right.
They're not showing up at places where the people that need to make a decision on a student loan are. There's not a market for that. And I think it's because we have these super cheap student loans from the federal level.
Right.
And they're no risk. There's no people take them that should never take them. There's no pre-qualification and I feel like this is an opinion from me. This is not based in fact, but I don't think it's a stretch. People get in programs that they shouldn't borrowing that money. You end up with $200,000 in debt. And it would be a program that would never be able to earn enough to justify that.
Right. And I think that if there were libertarian principles in place, we wouldn't have a government involved in student loans to begin with. So we wouldn't necessarily have this type of a problem.
Maybe but we're pregnant, right? Let's solve it.
But we're here now. Here we are.
So let's double down on it's free for everybody.
Well, I don't agree with that either. I think that one of the things that I really think about is that for the higher income earner or someone that is a young professional that they're doing all right, but they're paying a lot of taxes, make student loan interest deductible. It's not costing the government anything to allow me to deduct more from my taxes. Like the limit is like $2,000. You guys know this per year?
Yeah. You got a tax credit. The first 2 years I had, I got a tax credit it wasn't a deduction. It was truly what I paid in taxes. I got as a straight up credit off of my taxes.
So I deal with like this deduction that's just absurdly low. And it was probably set around the Civil War or whatever. And it's never changed because nobody cares. I mean, that would be something where you're not handing anybody money. You're just allowing people to keep more of their money.
After the most recent tax reform that happened, I would be interested to see what number of people actually were able to itemize. But it's a very difficult number to get to itemize. You would have to have after the latest tax reform, it would be, I don't know how many people, definitely nobody in the targeted classes of Elizabeth Warren. You could make it all entirely tax deductible and still probably not get enough to want to itemize versus take the standard deduction.
Oh yeah.
Because you would have to be paying, it would be off the charts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Off the charts. To the point where you probably weren't able to make your payments anyway.
Right.
Am I crazy? Anybody?
No.
That would just
you're on the right track.
The theory. Because it's like $20,000 a year, right? Your standard deduction for a couple, it's like 24,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you would have to have
12 for singles.
So you say you've got a couple. maybe if you're a ridiculously generous person giving, and you can take mileage, it would be so difficult to get to that number that it would be the extreme to me.
It's difficult to get to that number regardless.
Right.
But
But
I think that
even if you add student loans in, I just don't know that that's
there's a certain cap as to what you get credited for or allowed to deduct.
right.
And that cap shouldn't exist.
Right. But I'm saying even if you remove that cap, I don't think it solves the problem. If you really want to make that matter, I think you need to give it as the credit. So the tuition paid, because there was a number where you could take a certain amount off in tuition paid.
Right.
That's where you would have to make it a credit instead of a deduction.
I mean, these are policy questions that libertarians and Republicans should be talking about.
There should be no income tax. Taxation is theft.
Boom, atom bomb.
That's
You just solved this little fly swatter problem with the atom bomb.
there we go.
Just a real quick,
Problem fixed.
real quick Forbes article. It says 9 in 10 are going to claim the standard deduction under the tax reform.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 10% people itemizing.
Yeah. I think that's pretty optimistic as well.
Yeah, definitely for sure. But
I
So
can't.
here's
I don't see. You need to be in a multi-million-dollar house. I mean, it would just be insane to have enough interest to do that. To the areas where you get it, it's just not. Or medical expenses. You had
wouldn't be able to write
massive
off
medical expenses.
I guess you wouldn't be able to write off all of your. It wouldn't solve the whole problem. It would just relieve pressure on people.
I feel like you'd fill out a form and feel like you got something. You get on the back end, you just be pissed that you're like, oh, damn
Not
it! I
enough,
saved all those receipts and it meant nothing. It meant nothing. Yeah. But Nancy Pelosi got to celebrate.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just Debbie Downer today.
Here's
man.
all right, to cap off our conversation about colleges, a little fun fact for everybody. The very first graduating class of Harvard University was in 1642, and it was
when Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
It was
close.
There were 9 men. Only 9 men in the very first graduating class. So
Is that even a university then? Is that's just like
these 9 guys.
like a book reading
It was
club.
in their hearts.
These 9 millionaires, built a castle.
What
and they were
really
like,
is that? Is
we're
that
going
like-
to put our books here and give ourselves
A university was a
certificates."
collection
We're
of
going
books.
to-
It was a library. In 1790, I think you just said, "Hey, I'm a lawyer," and nobody.
Right.
I mean, there wasn't a bar.
Yeah, Abe Lincoln wasn't passing the bar. I'm sorry.
Right. It was like the
You go around, you say I'm a lawyer.
There are 5 lawyers in this room in Lincoln's
like
time.
being a
because
doctor.
you walked into a town in the West and you went, "Hello, sir. My name is Jonathan Schwarzenkopf, and I am a great lawyer from the city of New York." And they were like,
My head hurts.
Wow.
You should do cocaine about it. That's yeah. All right. So we've solved everything.
Yes.
Congressman Pence, I'm glad you're watching. I look forward to enacting all of the laws that Dakota promoted.
That's true. And if you listen to this show on the We Are Libertarians Daily side of things, then this is the end of the program for you guys. You can listen to the rest of it at bosshogofliberty.com or search for us on your favorite podcast player, or maybe it'll be up on YouTube by the time you listen to this. Who knows? Just want to say thank you to Sean.
Thank you.
And as well as Mason, both of you guys for coming out and talking to us about student loans and the cost of tuition and both of your very relevant experiences.
BossHogOfLiberty.com. We'll see you all over there. And that's the edit mark for Dakota, but we're not done. It's like we were simulcast with another radio show.
Yeah. All right, now comes we're done with the national side, and here comes the local side. It's like whenever Bob and Tom plays the local car commercials.
It's only 2 more hours of the show left now.
That's true. So we only have a little bit of news, and this is going to come from our Newcastle City correspondent / reporter / producer, Mr.
slash city council candidate.
Yeah, Mr. Chris.
I wear
Guffey.
many hats. Many hats.
You went to the Newcastle City Council meeting Monday, May the 6th.
I did. There wasn't much on the agenda that I.
There was nothing on the agenda.
No, there was something on the agenda.
They closed the city down this week, right? All of the city was shut down for
May
reasons.
7th, just for the primary election that didn't happen. That was great. But
I need you to project. You can't whisper.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Jeremiah. Here,
Are you feeling okay?
my allergies are rough right
He's
now.
been sneezing and coughing.
Like, okay, an example. when my allergies get bad, I turn into the dude from the Goonies. Like my eyes swell up, puff up, and then just close, and then I just want to sleep.
Everybody just thinks you're high.
It's a possibility. But no.
Thank you, candidate. Yes.
Make me the councilman. No. May 7th, they closed due to the fictional primary elections that we held. 100% voter turnout. That's what I'm hearing. It's great. But no, Mayor Greg York gave a update on the 1400 Plaza. Said we're really just a week of good weather away from having the parking lot done. Well, until the final coat can go on, he said. It's just they've been averaging 2 days.
It's a plaza, not a parking lot.
It's a plaza because they're going to add a nice little amphitheater down on the other end, and the farmers market's going to take the parking lot
because the arts park isn't right next to it, right?
That's not city owned.
It's not. It's across the street and down a little bit.
He couldn't buy it, so he decided to build his own.
No comment.
So the big action item was that the city approved matching funds for the community crossings grant, so we're going to get all the roads paved. Is that correct?
I knew there was something on the transportation.
Grants filed. All the roads should be fixed soon.
As long as my road's fixed, that's all that matters. I'm a selfish capitalist.
Wait a second. Where do you live? Where do you live?
He lives in Millionaire Row over by the cemetery. He's over there with all the doctors and
I
lawyers.
could throw a rock at Harold Ingersoll's old house if I wanted to.
Well, then I tell you what, I'm not taking care of you. You're not my guy.
If you throw a rock at him at that old house, it'll come right through the ceiling.
Yeah, could be.
It's got glass. Literally, they have glass houses in your neighborhood, sir.
There's
Didn't
the
the mayor
sign
give
in
an-
front of it.
Didn't he give an update on the financial side of 1400 Plaza?
So the whole entire 1400 Plaza was billed out at $1.2666 million was the estimated cost. I know. I don't know if he said
How many
that
sixes?
I don't know if he said that many.
Sounded satanic.
I don't know if he said that many sixes, but it was pretty close. Anyways, $1.2666 million. But anyways, the bathrooms were slotted for 260 of that estimated cost, and he said that they were going to be looking at about $40,000.
Here's the problem whenever government builds things, Sean.
But it was $200,000 was scheduled by the contractors because I guess they get paid by how much the actual project.
What are you,
turns out to be.
hourly? The problem whenever government overtakes these, or they undertake these giant projects, the contractors know that it's government funded, and they just price things out of the water expensive. Way more expensive than what it would be like. Hey,
That's a
my
lie.
name's...
That's not true. They competitively bid it. The companies. It's not the government out there. It's not city employees building it. They had 3 or 4 companies come together and they spec'd it, and the private sector is building it. It's not like you have 32 city guys that don't know what they're doing that are trying to build it.
But
you are fake news, Dakota Davis.
That's not what I said at all, though. I didn't say that city councilors were out there trying to build it.
City employees.
That's not what I said.
Oh, I feel like it is.
That's not what I said.
You should really publicly apologize to Mayor York and all of the people on the city council.
That's okay. I'm not giving any apologies anytime soon. I've done nothing wrong. And that's how I'm going to sign off. I'm not even going to say what I was going to... I'm done.
When you guys talked about the election day and the trash pickup last time, my trash usually gets picked up Wednesday morning. And, of course, I didn't put the trash can out there because I knew they weren't coming by. So my wife saw that everybody else on the street had their trash cans out Wednesday morning. And she knew they weren't going to pick up the trash, but she felt like...
She didn't want to be the outlier.
We wanted to conform... So my trash can's going to stay out there.
We must conform.
To the ire of Mayor York, I've heard he doesn't like to have the trash can sitting out.
I think you can get fined if you leave your trash out for more than a day.
You can. It's a $100 fine.
The law is only...
day, I think.
Well,
Boy, they
you
could have
have
made some money
on this video.
On Millionaire Row there, huh?
Exactly.
Boy.
I follow the Courier Times and they print accurate and important information. And I read it thoroughly.
The guy prints 1 extra 0 one time, and it's the City Council all over again. Give him a break, Sean.
It's not even the paper's fault.
Et tu, Sean?
No, I wouldn't turn on Travis.
All right.
Travis is solid.
So we are getting to the point. I'm sorry. We'll check with Mason. Do you have a Spiceland City Council update for us, Mason?
I think they meet in June. We'll figure it out then. But not much going on there.
All right.
We may get a cop eventually. A police officer.
You do have
You do
one.
one.
I haven't seen him.
His
so
name is
we'll
Matt Pierce.
He's a huge fan.
He's a Patreon member.
I like to call him other words.
He still has not caught me blowing through the stop sign next to the church.
No, but I don't think does anybody. Nobody stops at it. It's already, They just need to remove it.
So I
Be
was
a hero. Be a
I-
hero for the show. If it disappears,
It appears.
It will be in my dorm room next semester.
if it disappears,
and reappears behind Jeremiah.
this is so. What we said to we had a former Greensboro town councilman on the show. Dakota Clark was on, and he was complaining about the stop sign on the south side of Greensboro that is for somebody's driveway. And I said, "You were on the town board. Why didn't you fix this problem?" And he's like, "I forgot about it. I didn't know." So sometimes it just
got
takes
to bring it up.
Sometimes it takes a local hero to reopen 14th Street or to remove a stop sign that should have never been there to start with.
Listen, man, I have low voltage gloves.
well, if that's
I
the
could
case,
go up
we'll
there
meet up there
and
11:30
just
tonight. I'll bring the
Cut
ratchet.
the wire for the
Why are you
stop.
saying
Don't
don't
give them time.
No, we went over this last time. We don't conspire on camera.
So the-
Rolling. You don't put the conspiracy on film.
I learned a really interesting tidbit about early Spiceland history. And everyone that is listening, that has listened to this show and is listening to the show is going to find this pretty funny. In the early days of the Spiceland Town Council, it was decided that the town would pay for street lamps. And, this is way back in the early 1900s. They said the town is going to pay for street lamps. Uproar happened in the town of Spiceland. Not in my backyard are we having these street lamps.
Those street lamps will give you
Yeah.
cancer, man.
So
Probably
because of the protests of the street lamps, it was decided that the street lamps would only be on until 8 p.m. Yeah.
and then a lamplighter has to go out and shut them all off.
And then they
at 8
shut them
o'clock.
off.
Because back in that day, it would have been gas.
Yeah,
It'd be
gas lights.
lamps.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
I thought that was hilarious.
How ridiculous is that? And then
No one,
like Walmart
humanity
with the
hasn't
self-checkouts. Walmart with the self-checkouts. You are taking away somebody's job. When you electrified those, now we don't have to have a guy to turn them on or turn them off.
I don't know where to buy buggy whips anymore.
There's really not a good market
It's not-
for them.
I don't know.
All right. We are now into final thoughts.
There's specialty sites for things like whips and stuff.
Dakota has
I'll
a
have to
link.
check this out.
He's got it saved in the it's favorite.
So favorites.
Dakota at BDSM.net. It's got all whips, chains, any sort of leather thing you need, masks.
Leather daddy.
It's after 8 o'clock. It's safe. Mason, do you have anything prepared? There was a no hitter in baseball. You used to be an athlete.
Wow, what made you think I changed?
That was insulting.
Actually, I did notice on the Instagram you were.
I'm so sorry for my co-host's rude behavior.
yes. I did notice you have been going to the ballpark. You've been practicing. Take some BP.
I do coach a 13-year-old travel ball team out of Noblesville with one of my friends, Grant Guffey.
Are you a professional? Are you on the take?
I'm close.
Listen, man, you need to hit up some of those Noblesville parents about the bag of
hold
boiler.
on. One of our kids' dad is a brain surgeon.
A back of boiler.
So he's going to have to back me. But yeah, I
Did you
do
explain
enjoy
to
it.
him that you are a contributor to a very popular radio show and perhaps we could be brought to you by surgery by Bill? We could talk about the brain surgery
Usually when
we
I
had.
do speak to him, I hate to say it, but I'm really not thinking about the Boss Hogs.
You'd be like,
but next time,
look, Timmy's not going to make the cut if he doesn't listen to me when I say hold up at second. Is he a base runner? The kid?
no, he hits well.
Better hope the dad doesn't listen to this.
Just tell him to hit the Amazon wish list. That's all we need. Hit it.
Yeah.
So what's going on this summer? Are you looking for an internship? Are
I'm
you baling
actually
hay? What's going
working
on?
at CVS as a pharmacy technician.
My God.
So
you're
we're
like
making-
every other future pharmacist.
We're making some money moves.
Making strides.
Are you in Knightstown or Newcastle?
Newcastle.
Can I buy my Sudafed
Make
there?
them money moves.
Or because I shared this on the show a couple weeks ago. I think maybe it was on the Patreon side, but I went to the to buy Sudafed because I was legitimately not well on the south side of Muncie, and they're like, "No, we CVS will not
you're
provide that
probably
to you here.
because you're in the south side of Muncie.
They said the only store you can get this at is
really
Tillotson on the nice side.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a job. I left my office. I'm dressed for work. And it was just, nope, you got to drive 10 more minutes
sometimes
across town.
the people at South Muncie have a job also, and they're dressed for their type of work.
And they're doing their job.
And they're trying to do their job.
So I'm just trying to find
lab
out.
workers.
Can you,
So I think if you
Yeah, but
walk
the
down
ones
to
that have
CVS,
the ones that have the jobs also have cars.
I'm just saying,
They could just drive to the one on
can I
Tillotson.
buy
Exactly.
the legal maximum of Sudafed from my boy Mason this summer?
Now I'm not going to. Yeah, you can. You can come and just say
do you
It's
get
the
a cut?
legal amount.
Make a
right?
it's the
legal
legal
purchase.
amount.
I am here to
Yeah.
make a legal purchase.
You may have to get
Ma'am.
it, behind the counter, but
It's over the counter, yeah. I mean,
well,
you
it's
have
an
to-
OTC. But
Right.
I think we may keep it back there for reasons.
Yeah, the pharmacist has to be like, this is for the guy in red.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll be
And then
fine.
your driver's license gets scanned and you feel like a criminal and you go, God, I hope I didn't buy too much.
And then
it
you're-
says you've had 0.3 grams.
and then your runny nose just goes away, and you're fine.
I'll tell you what, Sudafed is, I'm sure that it can do terrible things, but it works. Like it is.
Can make meth. So
Well, I think here
It's
in
the main thing it can
Newcastle,
do.
I think I'd say it's a toss up what they're using that Sudafed for. So
I didn't buy batteries and anhydrous. I just
no, you
bought
don't buy it all
Sudafed.
in the same place. You haven't learned anything from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, you got to rob a train. Where's my train music?
Now they stopped manufacturing in Newcastle. They cracked down on that.
yeah.
Sean saw to that.
I'm on to manufacturing methamphetamine. I just in my professional capacity.
Dakota is getting messages from his wife. Mine is giving up all hope, but now his is checking in. All right. Anything else? Any more final thoughts there, Mason?
I'm all right.
Anything to promote?
Pay for my college. Back a boiler.
Back a boiler. Patreon.com/Mason for college.
Back a boiler.
Producer Chris,
Yeah, I had something.
you're gonna be volunteering tomorrow, right? Or Friday?
Yeah, I will be volunteering at the cleanup in Castle Heights in the afternoon. I know in the morning they are cleaning up Memorial Park is what if I remember correctly. They're doing that in the morning, then they're coming over to Castle Heights about noon. So I'll be there for a few hours. If you want to come out and see me, talk to me, hug me,
Meet you.
meet me.
Buy him dinner.
No, don't buy me dinner.
Mason, if you buy dinner, Mason might come hang out with you.
Who?
This guy?
What
if
guy?
you buy,
That guy?
He's look at him. He's a student who might be able to get the day off school and work for you. You might want to treat him nicer.
Oh, look at him.
I don't.
He's not going to drive down from Lafayette.
I'm
He promised.
home. It's the summer.
This guy promised to help my campaign 4 times and never showed up.
Hey,
It wasn't for.
best kind of people right there.
I even bought him a T-shirt.
But
I don't have it yet.
no, that's all I've got right now. Oh no, I would like to thank on the air the 4-H junior leaders for inviting me out to help mulch. Emphasis: I'm struggling today.
Oh, that's your problem.
That
The outdoor time got you.
yeah, that and going to Little League baseball games for my nephew. They kicked my batootie.
Springtime is just too much for Mr. Guffey.
Man, you wouldn't believe it.
You should go see Mason and get some Sudafed.
Maybe when it becomes a
Don't
real
get me in trouble. I'm not even halfway there yet.
All right, we shall move on to.
Have you
Sean.
started learning about drugs yet? Are you getting anything pharmacy related?
Kind of. I mean, I had a pharmacy orientation class. I mean,
Oh, something else, real quick.
okay.
The city
we've
of
moved
Denver.
on.
I know. The city of Denver has decriminalized.
Look at that. My producer's stealing
Mushrooms.
my final thoughts.
Oh shit! back up.
Oh, taxation is theft, and so is
It's not on the notes.
Every
It's not
single
on the notes.
thing that
If it was on the notes, you
Guffey
still
does.
didn't read it, Guffey.
Never do.
All right, Sean Rao.
Guys, it's been a pleasure as always. I love being on here. It's just been fun to even talk about a depressing issue like student loans and our permadebt that will outlive all of us. But it's been a real joy. Just staying busy, practicing the law in Newcastle, Indiana,
Doing the good work.
working to defend the public as a public defender, and privately doing defense work and family law. And I really enjoy being here, working here, and it's kind of just moving along. Just kind of in a point in my career where everything is more or less the same now. It's not so new and scary and shiny, but I'm still enjoying it. So
I need you. Did you ever watch Arrested Development? Did you follow?
The first run. Yeah.
So this season, there is a team of attorneys called the Guilty Guys. You've got
now. I got to watch it.
Please.
I'm a big blah 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 fan.
Yes, blah blah blah's there.
Blah, blah, blah.
It's Scott Baio, I think.
Yeah.
Barry.
Yeah.
Barry Zuckerkorn, maybe.
Barry Zuckerkorn. Yeah.
And
Are you an expert in bird law by any chance?
I am.
Maritime law.
I dabble in bird law.
Bird law in this country is so screwed up.
It's not governed by reason. It's not governed by reason.
That's the yeah.
There's so many great lawyer references in popular culture that I get a kick out of all of them because I can laugh at myself and in my profession. As much needs to be laughed at, but no, it's just keeping on.
Whenever you're in court, do you wear fake hands so that it makes you look more masculine?
I feel pretty comfortable with the size of my hands.
You do have pretty big hands.
No problem with the size of my hands.
Hold on. Hey, Sean, what is your favorite lawyer movie? There's only one correct answer to this.
Oh, gosh. Well, what's your correct answer?
Lincoln Lawyer.
No,
I was going to say
I'm
that.
asking you. But
Mason is.
What's your birthday? What?
I don't know if I
July
have a
30th, 99. Still not
favorite lawyer
21.
movie.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
No, it's
My Cousin Vinny.
My Cousin Vanny is the one that's like always referenced when I did Moot Court. So Moot Court was like a pretend competition where you would go up and argue in front of a fake Supreme Court. And My Cousin Vinny is always a classic.
That scene where she's like, "No, I can't be this guy because so and so and so," and you're just like,
Yeah.
"Why does she know this?"
I do like Lincoln Lawyer though, with McConaughey's accent. You lied to me, Lewis. Lied to me.
The
That's what I would
in
tell my
Arrested
clients
Development, there
sometimes.
is a lot of A Few Good Men reference this last season as well. It's great. And then there's a new prosecutor, and I'm trying to find her name because it's a joke, and I can't.
They just do so many good things
it's
with
so-
just people's names and references, and it's really one of the most tightly written sitcoms since Seinfeld, I think, just because everything connects.
It's a joke a minute. It's so.
But everything is interconnected, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got it. It's
Sonny has those non sequiturs where that just nothing ever follows up from it.
Yep.
But no, it's good.
I'm desperately scrolling trying to find the name of the prosecutor in the last season, and I don't
you're
have
doing
it.
that, I'm going to move on to my final
right.
thoughts.
Final thoughts.
The city
Dakota,
of
final
Denver.
thoughts.
Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
The city of Denver in the state of Colorado, they had a historic vote on Tuesday. They were going to vote whether or not to decriminalize psilocybin mushrooms or magic mushrooms. And this didn't make it perfectly legal to have them or to like sell them in stores. It just said we're not going to use any more of the city's resources prosecuting people that get caught with psilocybin mushrooms. And they took it to a vote, and it did not pass. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, so Guffey said it did pass.
It did pass? What?
Yeah,
did it turn
Pat-
around?
Why is there fake? Why can we not decide on this?
Hey,
Because-
quit being fake news.
because
it passed
last night-
by 1,927 votes.
Wow, it was so close.
They originally thought it was going to fail.
Yeah,
Yes.
because whenever I was watching it last night, all of the news anchors were going, well, it's not passing. Psilocybin mushrooms are not happening in Denver this year.
So
it was like,
it's a decriminalization bill.
yeah,
So that it's a city ordinance where the city police officers won't enforce
yeah.
criminalizing what, just marijuana or
no mushroom.
Yeah.
Talking shrooms
magic
now.
mushrooms.
Magic mushrooms. Yep.
They're a big
'Cause
magic mushroom problem in Denver.
I think at this point they're trying to. Basically, I think Denver is trying to create the reality that they are drug tourists. They're the Amsterdam of the
can see
United
that.
States. So everybody else, there's like 5 or 6 other
hold
states
on.
that have created drug.
Are you fact checking?
It's a drug haven.
Little Chris.
We're taking click, 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 click. He's trying.
He's trying.
He's efforting. I'm still trying to figure out what the name of this attorney was.
Oh, hold on.
No, what I'm looking at is since 2005, magic mushrooms have been legal in New Mexico.
Okay.
So it's not like it's that new of a thing that we have decided psilocybin mushrooms shouldn't be criminalized.
Right.
I mean, you can lay down on the ground and be in Colorado and New Mexico at the same time. I've seen it in a picture.
Especially if you're on magic mushrooms.
All the states at the same
Can
time.
be in every state.
Okay, yeah. In 2005, the New Mexico Court of Appeals decided that growing hallucinogenic mushrooms was not illegal. You can totally grow boomers in Albuquerque, bruh. That came from the article.
and you can get your blue meth. All right, 2 final thoughts for me, real quick. Indie star Greg Doyle wrote an article that made me cry at work today, and I messaged him and told him I was pissed, and he said thank you. But basically, Chuck Pagano has come back to Indianapolis after his cancer, and I'm waving to Libby. My father-in-law says I need to wave to Libby. So hello, Libby Potter. We'll be there as soon as we can. Chuck Pagano has come back to Indianapolis 16 months after they fired him, and he's raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think there are 12 cancer researchers on staff in Indianapolis because of the Chuck Strong movement. So it's a really big deal. Really, really neat that they've come together. And I think the general manager and the head coach of the Chicago Bears, along with Pagano, are coming down to this gala. It's tomorrow night. You can make a donation online with their deal. But it's just really touching. Talked about it's the human side. Obviously, everybody has a job to do, but a really good article. So go buy the Indy Star today, or jump online and take one of the free articles. But worth checking out. Greg Doyle, and it's the Indianapolis Star article about Chuck Pagano coming back to Indianapolis. The other thing, we've been joking around with the issue of somebody. My phone is trying to update as I pop something up here. The waste of a primary, right? This municipal primary thing, and the Democrats and Republicans essentially get free data. Everybody that goes in and says, hey, I want a Republican ballot or I want a Democrat ballot, that goes on your permanent record and it lets them market to you. So the Democrat Party and the Republican Party know exactly who pulled their ballot and who is likely to vote for their candidates in the fall. So they have a captive audience of people that they know are going to turn out. We saw ridiculously low voter turnout. All of the polling places get staffed in a community. Tom Firkinoff, who was on this show last month, said in Winchester, Indiana, 116 Democrats showed up. They held an entire city election. 116 Democrats showed up to cast a ballot in the entire city. Beth Steiner messaged us and gave us information. She was a poll worker in North Vernon, Indiana. She worked as a polling place judge, I guess you would call it, or precinct worker. She covered 2 precincts. There were 1,000 possible voters. 56 voters came through the doors. Mm-hmm. They waited there all day. They paid those people over $100 a piece. 56 voters showed up. It is time for us to stop subsidizing the parties and doing this work for them, especially in municipal elections. We need to get rid of these completely. The local parties should be able to solve this on their own. You're going to have 56 voters show up. You're going to have 116 voters show up. Mm-hmm. Stop spending money from the community side. It's not required. We spent a couple $100 ourselves, and we found our candidates, and we got candidates in the fall in the Libertarian Party. Democrats and Republicans can do the same.
Yep.
So that's my rant.
I have one quick more note over here.
Okay.
I really want to say thank you to Angela Showalter, the official barber of the Boss Hog of Liberty. She did this nice style today. Dakota. She's got yours. And I tell you, Dakota mentioned this, that they should rename it to VIP because they really do give you the VIP service there.
The VIP at the MVP.
Yeah. They give you a hot towel and then they give you a nice little neck massage at the end, and it's just glorious.
Wait a
and
minute.
you don't have to pay for it either.
You get a neck massage?
She just started doing it. Angela went to a barber expo in Nashville.
She told me about that when I got my last haircut. She
all
went
this
down and
cool
learned
stuff.
that, huh?
Yeah. Oh, she also told me that mullets are back in for guys.
Yes, they are.
I
Actually.
never left.
Yeah,
Never left.
It's party everywhere.
So,
All right.
but also with
Party in the
MVP
back.
Barbershop, Clay Morgan is back full time. So make sure you go see our friends down there.
Very exciting. All right.
Mention the Boss Hog.
That's enough of this. We are back on a Thursday next week, everybody. Thursday, May 16th. We're going to talk local business. We have Sean Default, who I got to hang out with his kids last night. He's got some real good, hardworking kids. They were there last night at the courthouse helping us out.
You didn't introduce me.
They're all just children. You don't need to worry about them.
That's true.
They're not voters. Anyway, we're going to have him on the show next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Going to talk Chamber of Commerce and local business. Following that on, I think it's going to be a Wednesday or Tuesday night. Nobody remembers. Nobody knows. We'll let you know when it's time. But we're going to have race night. We're going to have the Indy 500s coming up.
Ooh.
It'll be the week of the race. We're going to have a race night. So we're going to have some fun with that. Dakota's going to play Tetris or something. He'll be here to keep the streak going, but he won't really try. Until that, we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians Network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at wearelibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. And we have many other podcasts like The Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk, which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to wearelibertarians.com and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at wearelibertarians.com.